Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Alright, I'm putting my hands up, friends. It's real. It's not a phenomenon. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not voodoo witch doctor stuff of some person's imagination. The Trump curse is freaking real. Nearly every single celebrity that has gone publicly and became political and started attacking Donald Trump ends up going down. I mean, it's probably less the Trump curse, some sort of ethereal phenomenon, and probably more than anything, just career opportunists, sociopathic type celebrities that view an opportunity to use Donald Trump as an excuse to get publicity and to earn brownie points on Twitter and in the media. Just objectively bad, manipulative people. It's probably more so that than it is the Trump curse, but the idea of this Trump curse is so satisfying. They all end up going down or going broke or getting canceled. All the people who tell us Donald Trump is such a terrible person, he belongs in jail. Well, it never really ends well, and it's certainly not ending well for Alec Baldwin. The guy who, for I think 3 years straight, if I'm not mistaken, mocked Donald Trump on SNL and went on various talk shows telling us constantly how bad of a person Donald Trump was. Well, he's just been charged with manslaughter in the fatal Rust shooting as more information has been revealed, and it turns out prosecutors are finding him legally culpable. If it was just an accident, I highly doubt they would have increased the charges and would be charging him with involuntary manslaughter, but it seems as though there was an element of negligence, and this man is freaking going down. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, take a look at the headline. Breaking: Alec Baldwin to be charged with 2 charges of involuntary manslaughter in fatal Rust shooting. Baldwin shot and killed 42-year-old Helena Hutchins and injured 48-year-old Joel Souza on the movie set of Rust in Santa Fe, Mexico, October 2021. Baldwin pulled the trigger on the set of Rust according to the FBI analysis. However, he blamed the producer's death on Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer and props assistant on the set of Rust. Hannah Gutierrez Reed will also face criminal charges. If any one of these 3 people, Alec Baldwin, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, or David Halls, had done their job, Helena Hutchinson would still be alive today. It's simple. Andrea Reeb, the special prosecutor appointed by the DA to the case, said in a statement, according to Fox News, "The evidence clearly shows a pattern of criminal disregard for safety on the Rust film set in New Mexico." Yeah, by the way, the article earlier said Santa Fe, Mexico. I figured as I was reading that wasn't correct, but it's Santa Fe, New Mexico. Although typos in the world of journalism are pretty unavoidable. But anyways, let's continue. In New Mexico, there is no room for film sets that don't take our state's commitment to gun safety and public safety seriously. Deadline reported Alec Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed will face criminal charges for the October 21st, 2021 fatal shooting of Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchinson, the Santa Fe district attorney said this morning, close to 16 months after Baldwin took the life of Hutchins and wounded the movie's director Joel Souza with a loaded gun on the set of the indie western Rust. New Mexico's first judicial district attorney Mark Carmack Altwies today has finally unveiled her decision as to who should be charged and not charged in the tragic incident. After thorough review of evidence and the laws of the state of New Mexico, I have determined that there is sufficient evidence to file criminal charges against Alec Baldwin and other members of the film crew. On my watch, no one is above the law and everyone deserves justice. The decision distorts Helena Hutchinson's tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe that there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set. He relied on the professionals with whom he worked, who assured him the gun did not have live rounds. "We will fight these charges and we will win," said Alec Baldwin's lawyer in a statement to TMZ. Now, that specific statement from Alec Baldwin's lawyer is bringing up some extra questions, because based on reporting as we know right now, in addition to the bullet that killed Mrs. Helena Hutchinson, investigators found 5 additional live rounds of ammunition mingled among the movie's props and costumes. 2 loose .45 bullets were discovered on top of a prop cart, a third was in a bandolier worn by the actor Jensen Ackles, and a 4th was in the gun belt worn by Alec Baldwin, and a 5th was found in a box of dummy ammunition with Gutierrez Reed's fingerprints on it. Dummy rounds are fake bullets that look real, but are completely inert and have no gunpowder in them. And so I guess we gotta get to the bottom of this, because Alec Baldwin's lawyer is saying that Mr. Baldwin had no reason to believe that there was a live bullet in the gun or anywhere on the movie set, yet he had one in his gun belt. Now the question is, did he know that he had a live round in his possession, or that that there was one in his revolver. Were they playing around on the movie set, mixing dummy rounds with live ammunition, just messing around, shooting at empty bean cans? Because if that's the case, if they were playing around with guns, with live ammunition, totally nonchalantly, and not being extremely careful, not using completely separate weapons in a totally different location, and being extremely careful to not mix up any of the ammo, and even then that seems kind of damn sketchy. You're on a movie set pointing weapons at other human beings. You probably shouldn't introduce live ammunition into the ammo pool in that situation. I mean, it's totally irresponsible, but if that's the case, then that is absolutely criminal negligence. And whoever is found responsible based on testimony, based on what was happening, based on any type of irresponsible behavior on that movie set, well, then they should absolutely face charges and face the consequences of those irresponsible actions, because those might be the exact actions that led to the loss of life and life-altering terrible injury of another film crew member behind Mrs. Helena Hutchinson. I mean, we don't have all the evidence, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that we start getting some testimony, some eyewitness testimony, suggesting that somebody acted very irresponsibly on that movie set and it led to what we saw. It could possibly be Mrs. Gutierrez Reed. It could be the other name that was mentioned. One second, let me find that name. It could be Mr. David Halls, or it could be Mr. Alec Baldwin. Someone is probably going to get in big trouble here. And from my understanding, initially he was being charged with, I think, a minimum mandatory sentence of 18 months, but I think the new charges bring him up to possibly facing 5 years in prison. Now, he's a celebrity, he's probably got the greatest legal counsel you could imagine, and so I highly doubt he's going to get 5 years, but he might get something. And so the Trump curse, I guess, strikes again. But let's really wrap this up and I'll tell you where I get frustrated here. Obviously, there was criminal neglect. It's inexcusable to be mixing live ammunition with dummy ammunition, to be messing around with lethal weapons. That's one thing, but what really frustrates me is that Alec Baldwin knew all this. He had a live round in his belt. There were other live rounds on the movie set. Clearly they were using those live rounds. And then he, as we understand, allegedly accidentally pulled the trigger and ended a young 42-year-old woman's life. Brutally murdered. There's no other way to describe it. And in response, instead of being remorseful, trying to repent, telling the absolute truth that he was irresponsible, that people were acting irresponsibly, and that something terrible on the set happened, he's just trying to save his own behind. He's ducking, he's skating, he's hiding. Don't look at me, he's pointing the finger at everybody else. He wants everyone else to go down and he wants to save his own behind. That to me is just frankly disgusting. It shows zero ethics, zero morals, more Hollywood sociopathic behavior. He's trying to save his own skin and avoid any type of culpability and just let his lawyers handle it. In a situation like this, you know what I think would be a whole lot better and would probably go a long way in protecting you from harsh prosecution? Telling the truth, being honest, being remorseful, admitting that something went wrong, that mistakes were made. Because regardless, the truth is going to come out here. It's going to come out. There was a lot of people on that set. Some people are going to squeal. Some people are going to speak. And they're going to be telling the prosecutors. To be honest, they already probably told the prosecutors, and that's why, it's leading to pretty significant criminal charges here. But eventually the truth is going to get out. And that truth is going to be used against you in a court of law. And so you'll look a whole lot better having told the truth, having been remorseful, than you will trying to duck and avoid any type of responsibility, culpability, just try to save your own behind and throw everybody else under the bus. I have a very hard time believing that Alec Baldwin did absolutely nothing wrong, being in possession of a loaded weapon with live rounds and a live round in his belt. I mean, it's bad enough that they had live rounds on the set to begin with. It's just not the place for that. If you're going to a shooting range or you're in the middle of the desert and you're there specifically for sports shooting and target shooting, it's one thing. Everyone's being incredibly responsible, guns are being aimed at the floor or in the sky, and you're shooting at targets. It's another when you have weapons and you're aiming them at each other and you're on a movie set and you're bringing live rounds there and playing around with guns. It's inexcusable, and it's the Trump curse. Alec Baldwin tells us Donald Trump is such a bad guy, but you know what Donald Trump didn't do? You know what he hasn't been caught doing? He hasn't been caught with live rounds and having accidentally taken someone's life by shooting them like point blank range on a movie set, and then lying about it and blaming everybody else to save their own skin. The Trump curse strikes again. The people who tell us they are the epitome, the pinnacle of compassion and virtue, end up always being the sociopath psychopathic maniacs, now don't they? That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.